Let's disco in After Effects.
TipTut.
Hello everybody and welcome back to TipTut. This is a very special episode for today. A little bit later on, I'll be giving the link for you guys to be entered into a draw to win one free copy of the plugin DiscoText's for After Effects. This was very happily provided by Plugin Everything, and I've got 5 copies to give away, so this should be a fun one. Before you do that, however, if you want to follow along with this tutorial, you can download the plugin for free at aescripts.com. I'll provide a link to the description, in the description, to the file rather, and you can download from there and use this in After Effects, and then once you purchase it, you can render out, basically. You'll just have a little X appear over your content, but you'll be able to follow along with the tutorial and pop yourself in that live draw so that you can have a chance of winning a free copy of it. Quick shout out as well. Plugin Everything were very kind to make me an affiliate of theirs. So if you do purchase the plugin or any of their plugins through the link that I provide, then I do get a small cut of the profits made there. And it's something that really helps keep the channel alive and keeps me being able to make cool tutorials like this. So with that in mind, let's just jump right in on how to make this cool disco effect. Now, I'm just going to pop everything I've done in an example folder here. And you can see that it's a really simple effect. There is only 2 copies of the disco text with some duplicates. All of this text is live editable. So if I were to change it from disco to hello, for example, on both of these text layers, the entire effect would update, which is stupidly powerful, seeing as you don't have to do any editing. It doesn't render it until you are done. So with that in mind, let's jump right in. I'm going to create a new composition. I'm going to make this one 1280 by 720 and 30 frames per second is totally fine. And first thing we're going to do is just pop a solid into our background with layer new solid. Dark gray is fine, just to give us a bit of a background to work with. Then we're going to go to layer new solid again, because we're going to be needing 2 of these in a little bit. And we're also going to need a copy of our text. So I'm going to grab my text tool, click in the middle, and we're going to type in disco. I'm going to pop that in the center of my composition. Holding shift, I'm just going to scale it up. I'm just going to drag it to the middle. If you don't see these little snapping lines, that's because you don't have snapping on, and that's just checked up there. So let's start making this disco text then. Once you've downloaded and installed the plugin, you'll be able to find it under Effect, Plugin Everything, Disco Text. There it is. And you can see straight away, it adds a nice crisp and clean outline to your text. If you want to keep your original text underneath that, you can just check this composite over original and indeed choose the opacity of that original too. But we're going to leave it off for this particular scenario. You can see there's not very many options. That's because everything is really concise and sort of displayed and grouped together well here. But it is a really, really powerful plugin that allows you to do some really cool stuff. If you check out their AE scripts page, you'll see a few examples of what you can do with it in a different way to what we explore in this tutorial. As you can see, it's really powerful. You can do all sorts of cool things. What we're going to focus on, however, is that cool disco effect. So take you through some of these settings then. First thing we're going to want to do is edit the stroke on our text. And we can do that with just the start and end parameters here, which work in a very similar way to the normal trim path parameters. What we're going to do is drag our end all the way down to 0%. Pop a keyframe on, go over to about 2 seconds and drag that back up to 100%. If we press U, that'll bring up our keyframes and we can select them both and hit F9 to add a little bit of easing to make that very smooth. Now, that's obviously a very basic thing that you can do. But as you can see, the text is still completely editable, something which wouldn't be possible if you were trimming paths usually. So I can make that non-caps if I want to, or change the word entirely. But we're going to stick with disco. So we've added the start and end keyframes. About 2 seconds is fine. I'm just going to move to about 1.5 seconds so that we can see what we're working with. Underneath style, this is where you can affect your usual stroke parameters, things like color or stroke width. I'm going to pop that up to 10's a bit chunky. Let's pop it up to about 4 or 5. 4 looks good to me. You can also increase or decrease the opacity of that to your liking. Quite an important one here is cap style. At the moment it's on but you can see that with the but cap, it won't sometimes join up all of the corners of your text. You might want to change that to square to extend it beyond the end of the line, and that parameter is defined by the width of your stroke. Or indeed, you can change it to round, and that will give you a round end, like a circular end to your stroke here. Again, if you do that, however, when you first start, you will have a little dot where all of your lines do start. For that reason, I recommend choosing square. First thing I will say, however, is I'm very sorry about my cat, who will not be quiet. You may not be able to hear it, but it's really annoying me. Let's crack on. We've got Disco. We've added the little stroke around the outside. So now it's time to do something cool. You can see if you twirl down this little dashes option up here, then you can enable or disable dashes. And you can do all the usual stuff, extending or increasing the gap or decreasing the gap between these dash elements. Let's do something cool and leave those dashes in. We didn't do that last time, but I think that looks quite cool. So we'll leave that in for now. You can also offset that if you don't like the place that it joins up, but I'm happy with that. That's fine. Taking a look at animation then. So if you want to, and we do want to, you can stagger when each of these new lines starts. Now, as you can see, you would think there is only one line per character, but on some characters, there may be 2 lines. Like on this D, for example, there's the outside and the inside shape. If you choose to stagger this animation, it is measured in frames. And if we say we stagger it by 4 frames, what that means is after 4 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll notice on the next frame, the second line starts to animate. 1, 2, 3, 4. The third line starts to animate, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now that just basically staggers all of your lines, so it gives you a little bit longer for them to come on. By default, that'll go from start to end, left to right, but you can also reverse it if you want to. So it starts in the right and goes to the left, or what we're going to do is make it random so that it just picks a point at random and starts growing those in. Looks pretty good. This next bit is probably my favorite, and that's that you can force motion blur on these as well. So if you have motion blur enabled on your layer, which we will do now with this little select button here, you'll notice that the edges of these start to fade a little bit as, because they're moving, they are blurring in their motion. You can actually multiply. Yes, Phoebe, I know you're meowing. You're very hungry. You can also multiply your motion blur by cranking up this digit here, which really, really pushes and extends your motion blur, which I think looks really cool. If you really want to and you don't think it's enough, you can open up your composition settings, Control K. And this motion blur is determined by your advanced setting of shutter angle. The larger this shutter angle, the longer it will be. If I reduce this shutter angle, the shorter those sections will become. You can also play with multiples of copies, bearing in mind that if you make that loads, then it's really going to slow down your composition. All right, let's take a look at the fun bit then, the repeater. What the repeater will do is allow you to make infinite, or I believe it's infinite, probably quite a lot amount of copies of your stroke, which will all be tied to the original parameters and settings of your original stroke. Plus, you can get them to inherit the stagger that you chose on your previous section underneath animation. What does that mean? I'll show you. Let's say we want 10 copies. Let's start with 5, actually. That's probably a better amount. Once you've chosen your amount of copies, you might see no real difference apart from your text starts to get a little bit crunchier. And that's because at the moment they're all on top of each other. First thing what we need to do is choose how we want these copies to differ from the original. For example, if we twirl down transform offsets, we might be able to scale these up. Let's say for each copy, I want it to scale up 30%. There, now we can start to see where this becomes really powerful. Maybe we want to offset their position a little bit with each copy as well, and you can see it pushes that off to the side. Maybe we want to change the anchor point, which does the same thing, but can be useful if you've adjusted the anchor point of your parent layer. But what we want to do is reduce the opacity. By every copy, let's reduce the opacity by 20. And that means that our 5 copies will reduce down to 0% by the time it reaches the 5th copy, meaning we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 visible copies. If there was a 6th, then it wouldn't be visible. I don't want to actually move these by position though, so I'm just going to reduce all of those, undo rather, all of those effects. Keep the scale, keep the opacity. There we go. 30 is a bit small. Let's push it up. Let's get a cool looking effect here. Let's have 150. Let's have 200. Yeah, that looks good. And 5 copies? Nah, let's have 10 copies. Boom, let's really get this crunchy. To do that, however, we're going to have to reduce this opacity modifier down to -10 so that we can see all of those copies. Otherwise, because it's reducing in increments of 20%, every second one would be skipped out. 10 looks pretty good. It's getting pretty busy, however. I'm not sure if that's going to be too much by the time it's completely full. Let's stick with 5 actually, and have them go in 20% increments, just so that it doesn't get too crazy. So you can already see how this is starting to take shape. What we want to do now is just double check that we're happy with that animation. Boom, boom, boom. I think I want it to stagger just a little bit more. And we also want to make sure that our copies are inheriting that stagger. So if I say each thing should stagger by 5 frames, sorry, that is stroke width. It's because it both said 4. Make that stagger 5 frames. That's just going to make it slightly longer for the rest of the stuff to come in. And if we check this inherit stagger option, then it will mean that each of those copies is also staggered by 5 frames, and it creates a bit of a more cool effect because by the time this center disco has finished animating, some of the other stuff here will be animating as well, which is quite cool. So we've got our basic effect now. What I'm going to do is duplicate this disco layer, and I'm just going to turn the amount of copies down to 0 for that one. What that's going to do is just create us a nice white, crisp, clean version on top of our blurred copied version. And that'll be important later. Let's grab our dark gray solid then, and I'm going to open up my effects and presets panel, wait for my little twirly wheel of death to go away, and we're going to type in gradient. And we're going to choose our 4-color gradient, and we're going to just drag that over to our dark gray solid. Boom, looking crazy. Nice, nice, nice. So what we want to do is take our original disco layer, the one with all the copies on it, and on that dark gray solid underneath, we can just alpha matte the above disco layer. And what that will do is only show that text through when that layer above it has content, which on this one, as you can see, has respected all of those copies. And what's also cool is because it's scaled up and it's redrawing each of those copies, re-rendering them, you can scale it infinitely and the quality isn't going to decrease, which is fantastic if you ask me. Now, one way you can make this glow like a cool disco is by coming up to your effects, adding a glow onto your text and start playing with the parameters. Okay, so you could affect the glow threshold, for example. You could increase the glow radius and glow intensity to get something akin to what you're after. What I'm going to do is use another one of Plugin Everything's cool plugins for Deep Glow, which is just basically an easier version of Glow, which saves me a little bit of time. So I'm going to go to Effect, Plugin Everything, Deep Glow, and there's a link for this in the comments as well. Pop that onto the layer. Bam! Doesn't that look cooler straight away? You probably could achieve this effect with the basic results, but this allows me to do it in one click. And you can also, if you want to, edit all this sort of stuff. I'm not going to edit it too much. I'm just going to, because that's not really the point of this series. This is more about the DiscoText. So I'm just going to leave that on, say, like 1.5, blend mode screen. That's fine. On the other dark gray solid underneath, I'm just going to pop that on top, and I'm going to copy my same 4-color gradient. I'm going to paste that, but then I'm going to change the blending mode of this entire thing to soft light. Oh, no, sorry, not soft light. What did I use? Was it screen? Was it multiply? I think it was multiply. I'm going to leave that on multiply and drop its opacity down to about 20. That gives us just a nice bit of background color there. And pop this guy back up there, all the way on top. That gives us just a nice bit of background, and it allows us to keep our original matte here, track matte, on the disco layer. With that in mind, I'm just going to go to the start of my composition here. I'm going to grab my effects panel, and I'm going to go to hue/saturation. I'm going to drag that down onto here. Then I'm going to keyframe my channel range, move over to about 5 seconds, and then just have the hue cycle 3 times. And what that's going to do is it's going to change basically as we go through the colors. It's going to rotate through the hue cycle, and it's going to create this nice disco effect. And that is it. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Look who's come to say hello whilst we're rendering. Annoying cat. Say hello, baby. You're going to be quiet now that you're on camera. Are you? Wiki, 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 wiki. We'll use this intermission to talk about how you can win a copy of DiscoText. Tell them how, Phoebes. Meow 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 meow. No, that's sorry, I'm not doing that. That's silly. You can win a free copy of DiscoText by simply following the link in the description to the Google form that I've set up, submitting your name and email address so that I can email you the code, and I will randomly pick 5 people from that list and announce it in a future video. It is as simple as that. And with that in mind, our render has now finished, and look at our disco. It's going crazy. What a cool effect. I really like this. I think it's wicked. I think DiscoText is a cool plugin. You should go and check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will announce the winners in a future one, but please do not hesitate to go download this. It really helps the channel out. Have a go. It'll really help you with your trim paths and stroking on text and other cool things like that. And hopefully I'll see you in the winning announcement video and another episode of TipTut.
Remember to subscribe for more tips, tricks, and tutorials. Thanks for watching.